Hey there, everyone. It's Kim Duramo, and I am in one of my most favorite beautiful hikes out for a little trail run hike. And I wanted to share a story with you about being sick. The other day, I was feeling pretty sick, and I was in a meeting with my team. We do it on like a Zoom video, so we're seeing each other. And I kept sniffling and sniffling and just blowing my nose. And someone said, "Oh, it's good to know that you get sick." And I was like, "Yeah?" And that even you get sick. And so we kind of had this little moment about the fact that in some people's perception, there's like this perfection we arrive at. Like, I've mastered my body, I've mastered the universe. And so now these things don't happen. And that is not true at all. And I so much have been in the last few months, like inviting myself to let that be more seen, to let it be more seen how I get so miffed sometimes or triggered or, physically sick. And so we chatted about that a little bit. I thought it was really kind of interesting to hear yet another person saying that they are surprised that I still have stuff that comes up for me. And I said, geez, how do people think I understand how to work with the energy of the body? It's like from myself and working with my body and working with my emotions and my relationship or my physical symptoms or things that come up. It's just that I allow myself to move through them with so much fluidity that it's not a negative experience. And this was pretty much the same. I had developed some symptoms of like, I just was so overrun, worn down. And I knew like there were some really inspired things I was doing, but that there was some resistance in my system. And so I just invited the illness to like let it clear, because that's what happens when we have acute illness. Our body is clearing energy for us that we are really ready for, that maybe we haven't been ready to clear emotionally or mentally or on whatever level. Our body can clear that through a physical illness. And if we can just like love and nurture our body through it and drink lots of water, get some rest, maybe there's even medications involved, it doesn't matter. What do you need to do to nurture yourself through it? Totally different from avoiding the symptoms or pushing through it, or I don't want to feel this. So I kind of felt all this coming through and took some rest as best I could. I'm not perfect at it, but it moved through really fluidly. There was one moment where I was sitting there in this total misery of like, wow, this is really feeling stuck. What can I do that will really assist me? And the first thing that came to mind was calling a friend of mine. Her name's Maggie Schlarb. She's just super intuitive as well. And we've helped each other move a lot of energy. She's genius. And so I actually, she didn't pick up the phone. But as soon as I even thought about calling her, I had this conversation with her in my mind. And it was like a download. It was like in 2 seconds, I immediately knew this thing that would be what would serve my body. Like just connecting into the frequency of Maggie and her wisdom and letting that resource me. I immediately knew what would assist me in moving through this. So I did that thing, and it was super easy for me to do. It was very fluid. I had everything I needed, and it made a huge difference. And I started feeling a lot better really quickly. So now it's like 2 days later, I'm out in this beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous trail, just to give you a little panoramic here. But the point I wanted to make was so often we aren't in that fluidity. It's like, oh, I've got to do this thing, but I can't, I'm allergic to the medicine, or I've got to do this thing, but my practitioner's on vacation, I can't get a chiropractic treatment, or, whatever the thing is, it's limited. It's like, I can't have this thing that I think is what I need. Or, oh, I wish I could just do one of your programs, but I don't have the money. If I could just do that, then I'd feel better. No, 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 no. Never, ever, ever is life shutting down to you. Either it's a mind thing that you think you don't have the resource, or no, that's not the place you need to go to right now. That's not what's required. What is going to source you will be available with fluidity and ease when you surrender to receive it. Sometimes that moment of surrender, like I had that moment I was sitting in the bathtub, I was feeling really miserable, and I just was willing to let go of everything and just say, what would assist me the most right now? So ask yourself that question, because that will open you to things you didn't really, like it hadn't even occurred to me to do this thing for whatever reason. So sometimes new awarenesses will come in or something will come to mind. And maybe it is like, oh, if I just avoid dairy for the week, I'm going to feel so much better. Or maybe it is, something that you do, but it's not going to be this hard thing that takes like all your effort and all your energy. And I've got to do all this just to feel okay. Your health is free. And when you release the resistance you've been holding, you can move through these maybe blips of acute illness. You know, it's not that big a deal. But when we're in chronic illness and the energy is not moving, like nothing I do is really getting me better, and it's been months and months or years that I've been sick, that is a different story. The more I would invite myself to release resistance, it allowed me to be a totally different person. It allowed life to look completely different than what I thought was possible. So let your illness serve you. Let your wisdom come through the intelligence of your body. That is what brings healing. Really glad to be out here, but I was equally willing to go through that experience of the illness. It's only when we're in that deep resistance, like that, you realize, like, that you don't need to experience that. It doesn't need to be that hard. Even if you're feeling physically not great, but there's some fluidity to what you're moving through, eating and drinking, taking a nice bath. Sometimes we can just enjoy being still. But when you get those rocky moments where you feel so much resistance and it's like, I'm so miserable, just ask that question. What would source me the most right now? And just take a few deep breaths. Maybe it comes in right away like it did for me. Maybe it comes in overnight while you're sleeping. Maybe it takes a few days. But source your intelligence and it will allow you to open so much more up. Sharing so much love with you. I'm really glad to be sharing that, yes, I do get sick. And, this is how I move through things that I found to be so freeing. I'm at drkimd.com if you would like more in mind, body, medicine, and you're welcome to share this with anyone that you love. Blessings to all of us, and I'll see you soon.